I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review styles of movies that I love the alternative, B-rated, cold style flicks. And this week, it's one of those movies that didn't get really accepted, that was one of my favorites as a teenager. This movie came out in 1996, and it was directed by David S. Ward, and it was written by Hugh Wilson, Andrew Kurtzman, and Elliot Wald, and produced by Robert Lawrence, and made and distributed by 20th Century Fox. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're down for Down Periscope. The movie opens with a group of admirals discussing promotions. One promotion for a Lieutenant Commander Tom Dodge, played by Kelsey Grammer. They're discussing whether or not to give him command of his own nuclear attack sub. As they are speaking, Lieutenant Commander Tom Dodge is on another submarine, the Orlando, leading an important exercise.
Fire one! Oh, get up there, you miserable little puke!
Very important.
Well, what the heck? Why don't we pull in so you can putt out?
That's Captain Knox, played by William H. Macy. He doesn't have a huge part in this movie, but important. One of the admirals that really does not want to give Dodge his own sub is Admiral Graham, played by Bruce Dern. He thinks that Dodge is impulsive and reckless and makes really bad decisions. Even points out that the proof is in a tattoo he has, a very specific tattoo. And he doesn't feel they should promote
a man who has "Welcome Aboard" tattooed on his penis.
Hey, we're going to have to agree to disagree. Because a man who's able to do that is definitely the man I want fighting for this country. Back at the submarine Orlando...
I was only trying to have a little fun, for God's sake.
But your actions were totally inappropriate.
Yeah, next time stick to ping pong. But even though Captain Knox is going to report Dodge for this, he has just received instructions to have Dodge report to Norfolk, Virginia.
To take command of your own submarine.
That's not funny.
It will be. Captain Knox assures Dodge this is not a joke. This is real. Dodge is excited all the way to Norfolk.
I just hope to have one in turquoise. Thank you!
This isn't Frasier. I did love that show. Admiral Graham takes Dodge to his new submarine, the SS Stingray, which is a real submarine called the Pampanito. Dodge, though, is not happy about having to command this sub, especially because it's a diesel.
This is a joke, right? The Navy doesn't even use diesels anymore.
But he has to get over it if he wants command of his own sub. Admiral Graham tells him to meet his crew there in the morning.
They've been hand-picked by me.
Oh, that should be good. Dodge goes to see a higher-ranking admiral, Admiral Winslow, played by the legendary Rip Torn, rest in peace, asking why the Navy is messing with him in this way. But Admiral Winslow assures him they're not messing with him. He's being picked for a very important mission.
To turn her into a museum, sir? The wonderful world of corrosion?
Funny enough, the submarine Pampanito is now a museum. Admiral Winslow explains to Tom Dodge that they have found that the Russians are selling off all their diesel submarines to countries like Iran, Iraq, and Libya, countries that we are on guard of. Even though a U.S. nuclear attack sub could defeat several diesels in a conventional battle, Admiral Winslow wants to conduct a war game to show his theory that one renegade diesel captain, who decided for no reason to go on a suicide mission to attack the U.S., could actually do it without them being able to catch him in time.
One rebel diesel against the U.S. nuclear navy.
So what does Dodge think?
I think I'm gonna get my ass kicked, sir.
Admiral Winslow is not hearing this. He wants a strong man, a man with a tattoo on his...
Captain Winky!
And he even tells him, don't go after this like a naval officer.
Think like a pirate!
He also tells him he's going to give him 2 live torpedoes and set up a dummy ship in Norfolk, his final target. He sees that dummy ship blow up, they'll talk more about him getting his own nuclear attack sub. The next morning, Dodge goes to meet his new crew, starting with his executive officer, Marty Pascal.
You're kinda young for an XO, aren't you?
Excellence knows no age, sir.
Played by a very young Rob Schneider. He asks his XO, what does he think of the submarine?
I feel I need a tetanus shot just from looking at it.
You don't like it. Now to meet more of his crew, like Sonar, who they have to watch what they say around, because he can hear everything.
I don't hear everything, but I'm quite trustworthy.
Played by Harlan Williams. And Brad Stepanek.
Sit on it and rotate, sir.
What? What did you say, sailor?
He don't want to be there. He wants to get thrown off of sub duty.
If I throw you off, it'll be in the middle of the Atlantic.
Dodge doesn't care. After all the crew boards and starts getting their bunks, they get one more crew member, Lieutenant Lake, their dive officer. But there's a problem.
Lieutenant Lake reporting for duty, sir. And there is no problem.
Yeah, there is a problem, Lauren Hawley. You're late.
It's nice of the guys to get me a stripper, but I got a lot of work to do.
He doesn't believe that she's really his dive officer because women are not allowed on submarines.
Admiral Graham instituted a trial program. I'm it.
Remember, this was 1996, so women not being on submarines was still true. Now everybody is cleaning and fixing up the sub, getting it ready to go out there. Except for Stepanek, who is slacking off. And Dodge tells him, submarine service is voluntary. You could just quit if you want to. But Stepanek can't. His dad is an admiral and won't let him quit. So Dodge does something about this.
Bachman!
Yes, sir!
Dodge goes to meet his electrician Nitro, and he's shocked. But not as much as Nitro. Pascal is really angry, and he needs to cool off. That should do it. But still angry and upset, he goes to visit the cook, getting on him about the way he's stocking their supplies. For example, having way more cooking lard than coffee.
You think we're all gonna jump out of bed in the morning and have a big, hot, steaming cup of pig fat?
Add a little cream and sugar, it should be fine. Dodge pulls Pascal aside to talk to him about his anger issues. Pascal just says he doesn't want to be there.
I know why you're here, but I don't know why I was even considered for such an assignment.
Excuse me.
Oh, do. Dodge wants to know exactly why he thinks that he's there.
The weenie tattoo!
God damn! And then he goes back to asking for a transfer.
I can forget it.
Shocking he didn't say yes. Now the boat's finally fixed up.
She drives as well as she looks. We may even survive.
Let's hope. So now they go out to sea and it's time to do a dive test.
Prepare for dive!
What the hell was that? Then we meet an unofficial crew member working in the engine room. Howard, a retired Navy sub-expert.
Down we go.
Played by Harry Dean Stanton, who actually did serve aboard a submarine during World War II.
Let's take her down to, what was it, 500 feet.
An average submarine's crush depth is 400, and during peace times they really don't usually go down even that far. As a little demonstration in the engine room, Howard tapes a clothesline from one end to the other.
Because the water pressure is going to squeeze the hull of this boat like an empty beer can.
After they get to 350 feet...
But you never saw anything like that on one of them big nukes.
That would be freaky. And apparently that can really happen. When they get to 400 feet, Lieutenant Lake thinks they should stop.
You nervous?
No, sir.
I would be. I'd probably be peeing.
Bingo! 500 feet!
Okay, now I do need a bathroom break. They are now within the first engagement zone, so Dodge asks Sonar if he hears anything.
Buckman's eating an Oreo up in the galley. Bannock's taking a leak.
Not what he meant. There's nothing to worry about at the moment. And then Dodge notices a bunch of cassette tapes there and asks what it's about. They're whales.
I tape them, try to learn their language a little bit.
And what exactly would a whale say? I got plankton stuck in my teeth. I blow my nose out up through my back. Eskimos want to eat my fat. Over at the Orlando, Captain Knox has gotten the word that his sonar picked up a diesel contact.
Well, if it's a diesel contact, then it's not a sub.
But decides to get ping range anyway.
Ah, jeez! Just been pinged big time, sir.
But Dodge doesn't panic. He actually decides to surface and asks somebody to bring him a drop light and a roll of duct tape.
What is this, a scavenger hunt?
I love scavenger hunts. Going out with everybody and then we split up and go our separate ways and I go home and chill for a while and then come back and go, yes, I lost. Well, I was having a Mountain Dew. Dodge has one of his crew members, RJ, climb up the periscope and tape the drop light to it. So RJ, also called Jackson, but I'm just going to go with RJ because this is Jackson, climbs up there in the rain.
Be all that you can be. That's the Army song, Jackson.
Pretty sure in the Navy you'd get your ass kicked for that. Dodge has the periscope raised all the way up and the light turned on.
Looks like nothing but a fishing trawler.
Clever. He also decides to tell everybody to gather around and very poorly sing the song Louie Louie. That way when the Orlando can hear them...
We just chased down a boatload of beard-up fishermen.
Ah, beers!
And it works. The Orlando moves on. Then the Stingray makes it to Charleston Harbor to hit its first target. So now they have one more. And Admiral Graham is not happy about this. He says he's going to make sure personally that Dodge does not get to Norfolk.
Because I will have his tattooed hide nailed to my office door.
He's a bit of a sore loser. The next day, Graham calls the Stingray to let them know that he's cutting the containment field in half. Dodge wants to know if Admiral Winslow has approved of this.
Admiral Winslow is not administering this war game.
Yeah, but he is a slightly higher ranking officer than you, and you going behind his back and changing orders is the kind of thing that can get you dishonorably discharged. Now the best scene in the movie, where Pascal is confronting the cook Buckman about the fact that he found a fingernail in his food. The day before, he had found a Band-Aid.
Band-Aid was holding the fingernail on.
Ew.
Oh, it gets worse. Pascal looks around and finds cockroaches in the flour, cigar ashes in the spaghetti sauce, and an unmarked can that says it expired in 1976.
It still tastes like cream corn. Except it's deviled ham!
Ew.
Told ya. They need Gordon Ramsay now. Pascal rushes to go tell the captain about this. Oh! Yes! Yes! Oh, that was fun. Now they have some stock footage on their tail. Some. In this movie, there is actually some Navy stock footage being used, but there are some where they filmed it themselves. So they mixed it up nicely. But the reality is they have people on their tail, so to confuse the sonar, Dodge decides, since it's close enough, they're going to take the submarine all the way to the bottom of the ocean floor.
I could hear a couple of lobsters duking it out.
But once they get to the floor... Yeah, the other submarines heard that. But now everybody is ordered on complete silence.
Chin up like it wasn't your fault.
Shh! Sonar realizes that it must be the Orlando that's above them.
Somebody just dropped 45 cents.
I wish I could hear that good. Wait, no I don't. Most of the stuff I hear now annoys the crap out of me. Everyone is still on complete silence. At least until... Really? The sonar officer on the Orlando tells him what he thinks he heard.
Almost sounded like an explosion.
Just be happy that you're up in the Orlando instead of being down in the Stingray. Because now everybody on the Stingray is being hotboxed. Badly. And they can't react. And according to my father, who did spend some time on a submarine, that is exactly what happens when somebody farts in one of those little submarines. Dodge has another crazy idea. He wants his officer sonar to get up and walk around the hull, making his whale calls. And again, this works. The Orlando thinks it just must be a whale and leaves.
Somebody find Buckman, launch him out a torpedo tube.
But then who's gonna cook? You know what? Never mind. Who cares? Launch him. Dodge also ignores Admiral Graham's orders and continues on with the original containment area. Because of this, XO Pascal wants Dodge to relinquish command of the Stingray to him because he's not following orders. So Dodge takes Pascal, gives him the overhead, and tells him to request from the crew whether or not they are okay with him taking control of the Stingray. Yeah, the crew's not very supportive.
Looks like you're guilty of attempted mutiny.
So now what? They decide to embrace their inner pirates. They're gonna have Pascal walk the plank. Not really how the modern Navy does things, but I'm okay with it.
Mommy!
Yeah, they didn't kill him. They just contacted a fishing boat to come and pick him up. Because obviously they can't just let him stay on there. They can't trust him no more. Admiral Graham, in desperation, decides he's going to go board the Orlando to get a front row seat of them capturing Dodge. With all the ships and planes looking for Dodge at Norfolk, Dodge has a crazy idea in order to lose them. He's going to go right underneath a supertanker, right between its propellers.
This is way over my head.
Lake is still a little uneasy after the whole bottoming situation. So because of this, Dodge takes control. But as he's steering the ship...
Maybe 1.5, sir.
Be quiet, Lake, or do it yourself.
Seriously, no one likes a backseat driver. Dodge is pleading with her to take control.
All back 1/3! Right full rudder! Right full rudder, right!
There you go! Feminism!
Balls to the wall, boys!
Okay, are we watching a submarine comedy or G.I. Jane all of a sudden? Either one I'm okay with. Both good movies. It's working as the Orlando loses tracking of them.
Don't you dare tell me that.
There. But at the Stingray...
Engine room, we're taking out water! I'll take care of it, sir.
Stepanek goes to the rescue. Stepanek helps plug the leaks so that they all don't drown. Then, because Stepanek has had a change of heart, he's now part of the team. Now the leaks are plugged and they are successfully hiding under that supertanker.
How about some quesadillas?
If you're making them, I'll just have a cup of noodles. Now Dodge goes to his quarters. He needs a breather, but Lake comes to ask him how much longer he was going to wait before steering it the right way.
Half a heartbeat.
Lake is grateful for him believing in her.
Sir.
In reality, that elbow bump was not in the script. That was a pure accident. That did bruise her elbow very badly. Kelsey Grammer's slight laugh is where they cut it off so they could keep that shot, because he ended up laughing so hard that they almost lost it. At some point, though, the supertanker is turning away from where they're going, so they are uncovered. They have to make it to Norfolk with all these surrounding boats and planes. But they are ahead.
The Admiral has the con.
Dodge radios Howard to give the engines everything they got.
This is what I live for! DBF!
DBF means diesel boats forever. Howard has a little trick to make it go faster.
Whiskey! Thin down the mix! Gives us another 50 RPM!
That's actually true. Now for the fun.
Ready torpedo tubes 1 and 2.
Torpedoes?
Fire 1.
Fire 1!
Fire 2.
Fire 2!
The excitement is killing me. Admiral Graham calls the Stingray to inform them that they have been targeted, which in the war game counts as them being killed. And whereas Dodge accepts that, he also informs them before they targeted him, he'd already fired the 2 torpedoes.
They hit. We still win. Har har.
Oh, now it's time for some anticipation.
Sweet!
But still being a sore loser, Admiral Graham goes to Admiral Winslow to complain that Dodge ignored his orders.
He had higher orders. And you can forget about that 3rd star.
Swing and a miss! When they meet with Admiral Winslow, he informs Dodge that he will not be getting his own Los Angeles-class nuclear submarine.
You will be given instead a new Seawolf-class nuclear submarine.
Nice! They didn't make that many of those. Dodge also requests that he keeps his current crew. Even the cook? That one I would replace.
At least you got my son to face forward.
Stepanek? But your last name is Winslow.
It's his mother's name.
Yeah, true. Military marriages are tough. Now everyone is on leave. They're gonna go celebrate a job well done.
What exactly is this tattoo I keep hearing about?
Just tell her about it. Don't show her. That could get you both in a lot of trouble. And then finally during the credits, we get the Village People performing their hit song In the Navy. The most entertaining thing about that to me was Where's My Dad loved this movie. He hated that song. So there you have it. That's the mid-90s classic Down Periscope. A movie that really didn't get the respect it deserves. I mean, it made some money. It had a $31 million budget and did $37.5 million in the box office. So 20th Century Fox was happy. They got a profit, but not the profit they were hoping for. So that was kind of the end of it. As far as what people thought of it, this kind of goes along with a lot of the movies I review. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a score of 11% by the critics, but 62% by the audience. So like always, the majority of the audience loves this movie. Critics don't love this movie, which is why people need to ignore the damn critics. Seriously, I've said it before, I'll say it again. They like what you hate, they hate what you like. The submarine used as a stingray, the Papanito, actually wasn't a functioning submarine. It couldn't move on its own. So the way they made it look like it was moving, for underwater shots, they did a scale model, and for surface shots, it was actually being towed. Whereas it's true that the Navy doesn't use very many diesel subs, they do still use some. But this particular submarine was out of commission, and later, after this movie, did actually become a museum that you can go visit and walk around and see what submarine life was like during World War II. I'd go on that tour. Originally, the role of Lieutenant Commander Tom Dodge was offered to Tom Arnold, who did turn it down, which is why they ended up casting Kelsey Grammer. However, in an interview with Howard Stern, Tom Arnold did admit that whereas he turned it down and regrets that, he does think Kelsey Grammer did a way better job than he ever would have. A year later, Tom Arnold played Lieutenant Commander Quentin McHale in McHale's Navy. And now I kind of wonder, was that because he felt bad for passing up this opportunity? Who knows? Both great movies. They get compared to each other a lot. Very different, but kind of in the same vein. Ultimately, as far as this movie goes, I think it's sad that it didn't do better. I think it's sad that it didn't get a better legacy, that it doesn't have a better following, because in my opinion, it is a very, very well done movie. The humor is good. A lot of critics said that the humor was very juvenile. To that I say, who cares? Whether it's juvenile or very intelligent, it's funny. For example, the star of the movie, Kelsey Grammer, was also in the show Frasier, where the humor was very intellectual and still funny. So, you can like both. Not to mention the casting was fantastic. Most of the stars in this movie weren't big stars, at least not yet. Some of them never became really huge stars, but it had plenty of name recognition. But in my opinion, it was a great script with a great cast who delivered the jokes very well and had great chemistry together. So on that note, if you have never seen the movie Down Periscope, then do yourself a favor and go check out the movie Down Periscope. So there you have it. That's my review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications for when I post videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of Down Periscope. Love you guys.